Okay, it seems that we are live. So whoever is watching, Austrian carnivore perhaps, you just let me know that you can hear me. You should be able to hear me. And now it starts counting down. So the question is if everything I just said actually came through or not. But hopefully you can hear me, hopefully you can see me, and hopefully you have some questions for me. Because I don't have any silly surprises other than that maybe if you are in my current Facebook group, Life Without Cravings, we are moving on the 1st of October. So I've created a new group, which I plan on managing a little bit differently. So I don't want it to be the typical Facebook group. You might have heard me say that before. I don't like Facebook much. So I want to make this about the community rather than just posting silly posts and have people comment and like. I want people to connect with each other because that's what community is about. So I'm going to do some live hangouts on the weekends, which will be Saturday for most people, Sunday for me. And that's going to be on Zoom, and you can just come and hang out with us. You can ask questions if you want to. There is no pressure to do anything. We're just going to be and get to know each other if you want to, or you can just sit and listen in. I'm not going to force anyone to talk at all. And I'm going to kick off 1st of October with 7 days of live streams where I'm going to talk about how you can prepare for the upcoming holiday period, which whatever that might mean to you, if it's Thanksgiving, if it's Halloween, if it's Christmas, you can apply it to anything. So that's what we're going to start with doing. And hopefully we'll get some action in there. If you're not interested in that sort of thing, don't join. But if you're interested in learning more about what to do about your cravings, how to stay off of the food that you don't want to eat, how to be in control forever, and if you just want the support of other people who are in a similar situation, I would recommend that you join the group. But please answer the questions because I don't know how many people have declined because they haven't answered the questions. Um, probably not half, but I think we have 80 people in the group now, and I'm pretty sure I've declined 30 to 40 people. So there are a lot of people that don't answer them. I have done that myself when I try to join from my mobile phone because it doesn't show me the questions, and then I got a message that I'm declined. So if that happens, just apply again and wait for it. I think it will pop up after a while, but it might be like a delay. Rightio. So Patricia's here as well. Good to see you. I've missed you. Right, so sneaky Austrian carnivore is actually before zoo. Okay. Thanks for the link. Still, after switching accounts, I only see you're out of control with food. You can fix it. Okay. I don't know what's up with that. I don't know if it's because. Do other people see my scheduled live streams? I can try to. Actually, let me have a look while I have you on here. So let's see. So the next one obviously is I have already scheduled it, but it's right now it's not visible. So let me go and change that. So the next week, what date is it then? It's the 27th for you guys. There you go. And I'm gonna make that public, publish, and I'm gonna copy the link for you. So there we go. That should be that. Let me put that in here. So that's the link for next week's Q&A. I'm not sure why they're not popping up. Maybe it's a StreamYard thing that I'm streaming through StreamYard, as you can see up there. It could be that it's some glitch there. I know that sometimes I don't see other people's live streams that they have scheduled, but I do see all their premieres, which is strange. But most of the time I do. It could also be that I scheduled a lot of them, like for several weeks ahead, and then I made them private so that you can't see them. And then when I make them public again, maybe it doesn't show. I don't really know what's going on. But it would be good if the rest of you can tell me if you can see, without clicking the link, if you can see if I have any of the live streams scheduled, because that would be kind of helpful. Yes. Okay. Question. Maybe not that related to carb cravings, you tell me. I saw how Dr. Berry got rid of artificial sweeteners by reducing it gradually with sparkling water. What if you mix it with vodka? Okay, why would you mix it with vodka? Like, what do you stand to gain from doing that? That feels a little bit like defeating the purpose, because vodka is, another thing that you could easily get addicted to, and it's not very healthy. So, yeah, why do you want to do that? Answer that question. Oh, sounds cool. Maybe start a Clubhouse group. You know what? I tried to join Clubhouse like ages ago when I actually had an iPhone. And my New Zealand phone number is too long. It has one digit too many, so they cannot accept me. So in order to join Clubhouse, I would have had to change my phone number, and I'm not going to do that just to join Clubhouse, so they can actually get fucked. Just saying. Uh, it's the alcohol and sweetener addiction basically developed over quarantine. Okay, so are you saying that you have sweetened alcohol and you want to cut down on that gradually and replace it with sparkling water, or am I completely misunderstanding here? And if that's the case, sure, why not? Just like go gradually as slow as you can. Um, the only problem that is gonna come up for you, I mean, some people like going cold turkey and some people like doing it gradually. It's just like what's gonna work for you. Either way, you can do it either way. It's just how you're thinking about it and how you're connecting with what you're doing. A lot of the time, it's like, yeah, I would like to quit alcohol, but I have all these billion reasons for why I actually want to drink it. And none of them are necessarily rational. None of them are for your health or for any sort of benefit, but it helps you relax, maybe. Maybe it helps you be creative. There are so many things that it could help with that you feel like I need alcohol to get to that state. And in that case, you need to go and look at what else could you be doing to get to that state and replace that or replace the alcohol so that you can get to where you want to be by doing something different that isn't detrimental to your health. I have about 30 minutes to be here before I gotta go to work. That's fine. I still love you. Only for 30 minutes though. um, Yeah, slow process. I still haven't get accepted, so it's a very, very slow process. I don't think I'm ever gonna get accepted. I did apply twice just to see if it actually worked. Um, been off Facebook for ages, but I would go back for this group. Great folks, yes. Yeah, that's my point. I mean, Facebook is not gonna suit everyone. Some people are just gonna plain refuse to go on Facebook, and unfortunately, there isn't a lot I can do about those few that are gonna choose to do that. I'm sorry that you can't be there. I only have so much energy that I don't want to be on 50 billion platforms. I want to focus on one thing and I want to do it well. So I want to be there for those people who can actually be there. My suggestion would be like create a fake account, use a VPN so no one can track you if you like. Like do whatever you need to do. If you want to join the community, there is a way of doing it because everyone can get a Facebook account or 10. So if you don't want to join with your normal account, you can just create a fake account. You can join. Maybe I'll get banned on YouTube for saying that, but it's really easy to create a new Facebook account from a new email and just make up some shit name. It doesn't really matter. You can just join, or you can join from your normal one if you have a normal one. But the point is that you can create a Facebook account just to join the group and do absolutely nothing on Facebook with it. It is entirely possible. So the only other thing I can think of is if I would like build my own freaking thing, like join here. But then there will be people that didn't want to do that either, because then they have to give me my email address, and that is scary. And by the way, when you're requesting to join the Facebook group, I'm asking you for your email address in case you want my previous bootcamp from April. Then I will send you the replays. If you don't want to give me your email, fine, I don't care. but I can't send you the training, so then don't moan about it. Like, that training is there. You can get in several ways, but all the ways require you to give me your email so that I can send it to you. Otherwise, you won't get your hands on it. It's just you choose. I don't care whichever way you choose. Right. Yes. So that was the link to the next live stream, the Q&A. Right. Any way to ease other people into why I'm eating carbs like permanently? My mother was pre-diabetic, but I saw a decline over 3 years where now she eats 5 ice creams per week. To ease other people into why you are eating carbs permanently. Is she curious about why you're doing that? Because if she is, then you can just tell her why you're doing it. I mean, I don't know why you are doing it, like what your reason is, but usually for people that eat low carb, it's the people here, not so much, but it usually starts with something like, I want to lose weight or something. And then you lose the weight, and people are like, why are you still eating like that? It's because you've seen the health benefits, most likely. And you want to keep that health benefit and you want to get even healthier. And in your case, you're seeing what's going on with your mom. You don't have to necessarily mention it and put it that way, but saying, like, hey, this is a low inflammatory diet. I don't want to get sick. Like, it prevents so many diseases. Why wouldn't I? And I like the food. It's really as easy as that. It doesn't have to be complicated. MB is only banned in Europe. I'm not sure what we're talking about. Did I miss something? I have no idea what you're talking about. Okay. Yeah, I was pretty bummed at the time, but now I'm like, okay, that didn't work. This is what I'm gonna do now. I've already decided, so that's where we're going. Right. I had no problem weaning down sweeteners with sparkling water, like Barry said, but since I used to mix it with alcohol, it was way harder since they are wired to stuff in teen years. So it's harder. It's harder because you think it's harder. Like, that might sound a little bit harsh, but the thing is, so let's see how to put this. I think you're saying that it's harder because of the alcohol. Like, alcohol addiction is just like any other addiction. You might be more susceptible to alcohol addiction than sugar addiction or carb addiction. So you think that is harder because you are craving that more. You feel like it's hardwired. It's something that you have been doing for such a long time that it's a like you feel like it's a deeply rooted habit. But the truth is that every time you drink, you're making a decision to drink. It's not because you have always been drinking in the past. Yes, you do have that neural pathway, but once you are starting to get aware of what it is that you're doing, you will notice that you always have a choice. So when I first quit the carbs, what happened was that I didn't quit completely. I wanted to be in control because my brain was not ready to quit. It couldn't even think about a life where I would never have anything sweet again. Like, I can never have ice cream again, or never eat whatever M&Ms. I'm just making shit up here because M&Ms isn't really on my top 10 either. But my brain was just like, no, 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 that's not going to happen, and we're not going to go get on board with this. If that's what we have to do, we're not going to do it. So for me, it felt awesome to just be in control and to be able to choose when I was going to eat things. So that's where I started, and I was hanging around there for a very long time because my brain needed that time. I wish I had spoken to my coach about it earlier, but I had so much resistance to actually even bringing it up because I was too scared to bring it up. So my brain wasn't quite ready to commit to that. I'm not going to have sugar again. Right now, I mean, I only committed for a year, but I'm like, I'm not even tempted. I can't see why I would want to eat sugar again. Not even like, I mean, maybe I would have a bite or two of something in the future if I really want to, but it's like, no, there's no point. It's completely pointless. It doesn't add anything to my life. So um, it's just like a really, really bad habit. It's something that you have been focusing on, and that might be the thing that you feel like you're most addicted to. So you have to kind of dial it back and see like what is it that motivates me to keep drinking, and what is it that motivates me to want to stop drinking, and see if you really want to stop, or if maybe you just want to cut down and be in control. If you don't know what it is that you want, it's going to be really hard to go there, because then how are you going to do it? It's like if you have no idea where you're moving towards, you don't know which way to go. So I would kind of take a step back and just have a look at what it is that you want, why you want it, and why you wouldn't want it. Because it's really important that you know why you don't want to quit. Because if you don't know that, you can't change those thoughts. So if you're feeling like I don't want because of, the example I gave earlier, but all of these reasons, then have a look at that. Do you like those reasons? Are they good reasons? Are they reasons that you feel like, yeah, actually, I need to have that in my life right now, and I'm not prepared to go any further? In that case, this is not the time for you to quit. You might want to start with just cutting down a little bit, like take very, very small baby steps. We don't have to get to the end goal straight away. Uh, let's see. Thank you very much for the super chat. I went keto, then carnivore. My BMI is perfect now. Still sweeteners and alcohol, as mentioned, but they don't see that. I look perfect for my age. No one is caring. They just keep eating crap. Um, I think they see it, but they probably don't want to say anything, because then they might expect you to start preaching, and they don't want to hear it. So I very much doubt that they wouldn't notice anything, especially if you, I don't know if you lost a lot of weight when you did that, but over time, even if you didn't lose weight over time, they're gonna see that, hey, why are you not getting sick? Why are you not getting fat? What's going on here? Why are you so special? And then maybe the coin will just like drop, and they will figure it out. And maybe they would get curious. Maybe they'll start asking you questions like, well, I don't want to do what you're doing, but is there another way I can do this? Then you can just put them on a lower carb diet. Just start with cutting out sugar and flour, for example. Like get rid of all the gluten, get rid of all the sugar, and move from there. Because that's usually something that a lot of people can do. That's where they can start a lot of the time. Then we have the bread addicts that don't really fancy the idea of not eating bread, but there's usually one way or another to get someone started if they are curious about it. Yeah, I'm lucky my boyfriend is sober, so organically stopped drinking. Guess I was a social drinker. Yeah, and that's super common. Unfortunately, the social drinking, if you are with someone who drinks a lot, like every evening, and you start doing that, it will become a habit, and you kind of risk getting addicted to it. Obviously, they might or might not be addicted. I think I've told you before about my dad. He was a smoker sometimes. So he would smoke maybe for a year, then he would just quit for a year, or then he would smoke for 3 months, and then he would quit for 6 months, and then he would start smoking again, just because it was a social thing for him. So he liked smoking, and once he started, it was like, oh yeah, it's nice. So he would continue, and then we'd be like, well, it's not really good for me, so I'll just stop. He wasn't ever addicted. It wasn't a problem for him to stop, but he always started again. And I never really understood, like, if you can stop, why would you ever start again? But he was, I mean, I'm an introvert, and he was an extrovert, and he really liked socializing with people. And I think the temptation to just smoke because there were other people smoking and they were having a good time, and he just felt like that was part of that. So that was, like you say, is like a social smoker, and then he just kind of continued because he had the cigarettes there, and then he would just buy some more, and Just like a loose habit, but nothing that was like hardwired the way that I feel about sugar. I find it very fascinating now how people do that, but he didn't think about his health. He thought about, I want to have a good time. So, yeah. Okay. I have no problem with dropping sweetness, but a problem with it not being drunk. Yeah. Okay. So, why do you want to be drunk? Like, dig deeper. Because just being drunk isn't very pleasurable, I don't think. I just get a bit fuzzy headed, can't think like a proper person. I get tired. I get very tired when I'm drinking. So, why do you want to be drunk? What is the benefit of being drunk? Um, maybe you said that here. Although I no longer get the buzz from alcohol since carnivore, since you're no longer inflamed your brain. So I feel addicted while not getting tipsy. Just a habit at this point. Okay. So if it's just a habit, try to quit it. Like, can you do it for a week? Then you can reassess. Like, I'm gonna do this for a week, and after a week, I'm gonna make a decision if I want to do it for another week or if I want to drink this week. And if I want to drink this week, how much do I want to drink this week? Try it. What? That isn't the problem. I had a stalker years ago and never used my full name. That's all right. You don't have to use your full name. Okay, so this was I need a reason to ease others into my way of eating. Being a beacon doesn't work, and after losing my father to cancer, I don't want to lose my mother to type 2 as well. Yeah, we can't force other people to do anything. And when we try, you're more likely to make them resist you even more. If they're slightly open to it, you can maybe send them a video or something where you are not preaching to them. Because I think that is the worst thing when you're like, I've seen the light and I need to share it with everyone. And they're like, no thanks. We don't want to hear that. Okay, it's enough now. Stop. I don't want to hear it. Go away. I don't want anything to do with your diet. Just be quiet. And then you just push them further away. So that's not really going to work. But if she ever comes to you and she's like, well, my blood sugar is so shit and I don't know what to do, and you're like, I can help you. And we can start out really, really small, like get rid of the sugar and the wheat or any gluten. And then we see what happens. Check the blood sugar. Okay, it got better, but it's not ideal. Shall we try something else? Shall we try add another step onto that? But let them be involved in the process. Because if I was ever coaching someone and I was just telling them what to do and they didn't really want to do it, it wouldn't work. And family is so much worse because, you know, she's your mom. She's seen you as a baby when you knew nothing. It's going to be harder for her to sort of accept that maybe you do know your shit. So always involve her in the process. Let her make the decisions. So if you can see that the blood sugar is getting, or her control is getting slightly better, like, do you want to take this a step further? Because here are some ideas that I have. We can do all of them, or we can just do one of them. And then just continue from there and see how far she wants to go. Because from where she is now, anything that is an improvement is going to be huge, probably. Um, let's see. Hi, Bella. I'm not sure if I actually admitted you to the Facebook group. I admitted everyone who had applied. So go and check that. If you weren't, you hadn't applied to either of the groups. So just let me know. Um, if heavy cream in coffee is okay through the day, or should you limit it? How would I know? Like, what's the purpose of the cream? You probably like the taste. Okay. Let's say that you like the taste. So if you bloody Alex, I just read your comment when I was doing it. You are distracting me. So if you are having cream for any other reason than taste, then just have a look at, does it do anything? Like, is it beneficial for you in any way, or is it preventing you from doing something? What is your goal here? Because depending on what your goal is, you have to answer that question. So it might be you're trying to lose weight and you're not losing weight. I would cut the cream out because dairy is very often the thing that prevents you from losing weight. If you want to do a proper fast where you consume no calories, obviously the cream is going to be in the way of that. But why do you want to do that? Is it necessary for you to do a proper fast without even eating any fat? And how much do you put in your coffee? I have so many questions about that. So if you can be a little bit more specific about why you think that it would not be okay, or if you feel great doing it, why would you not do it? That's how I'm trying to judge everything that I do with my diet is like, do I feel great when I'm doing it? If I do, I'm going to continue doing it. If something doesn't want makes me feel great, I'm going to stop doing it. It's as simple as that for me. And obviously at the back of that I have a lot of knowledge about nutrition, etc., and how I want to eat, and I'm using that as like a baseline. This is where I'm starting from. But then I allow myself to modify whatever I eat according to how good I feel like when I'm doing it. Let's see. Trying to get my friend to start keto and she's easing into by cutting down on soda, but sadly said she is afraid to feel good and her depression is her personality. Okay. Yeah, okay. So I think she should see someone. Because that is not when you are depressed, you might appreciate your friends trying to help you, but also you might be able to help her with the diet if she's open to that. So if she's open to cutting down on the soda, that might help. If she's open to talking to you, like maybe it's worth trying to explain that there is a very strong correlation between the amount of carbs that you're eating and depression. And we talked a little bit about this in the last Q&A. Is like dopamine is suppressing serotonin, which is what makes you feel like good, long-term good, like just content. So we're taking that away. So if you start if you stop eating all of the crap that gives you this dopamine hit, because that's the only way that she might be able to just feel normal, it's like drinking soda. And when she doesn't have soda, she feels even more crap. It's gonna be a hard sell. Like, stop the soda, feel more crap for a while when someone is depressed. She needs to want to feel better. Like, if she thinks that is her personality, that is a brain error, and it might be caused by the depression itself, and that she's been feeling depressed for a very long time. But being afraid of feeling good is like, I think she needs to talk to someone, preferably a therapist of some kind, if this is something that has been going on for a long period of time. Like a coach like me, we usually want to work with people that want to move forward. So if she's resistant to that, like what a coach could do is maybe work on that resistance if she has a desire to break through that resistance. But in this case, I still think maybe a therapist would be a better choice for her to find. Alex, you're so lovely. Am I so sexy because of the carnivore diet or in spite of it? I think it's in spite of it because I have felt like shit for the last 3 days. You guys know that I'm experimenting with an 80% fat keto diet, and I managed to trigger my headaches again and not being able to get out of them. The good news is that I think I know what is triggering them. The bad news is that I don't know how to get out of it. And it's hypoglycemia. My blood sugar goes very low, down to 72 for the American peeps and 4 for us normal people. And that is definitely triggering my headaches. Anything between 4.3 seems to be where the cutoff is for me. And I cannot get out of there with protein alone. I can get it up to 4.2 when I'm eating meat. and that seems to be a limit for me. So yesterday I actually tried a couple of days ago. I tried to eat 30 grams of carbs, and my blood sugar shot through the roof and for way longer than it should. And then poof, down back to 4 again. So that didn't work. And yesterday I had 5 grams of carbs in 50 grams of Greek yogurt. That got my blood sugar up to a good level, I think. And then it slowly went, well, I filled up with meat as well, and then it slowly went down. This morning it wasn't super low, but it was quite low. So I had 1 teaspoon of yogurt this morning. I'm gonna use it as medicine for now, because now I'm kind of terrified of going there again because it's awful. And just thinking that I spent several weeks doing that when I tried to adapt to carnivore, I don't want to do that again. And it seems like once I get into it, the hangover from it is a very long time period. So I want to avoid getting that deep into the headaches again, if I can. Um, I'm sorry to hear that before Zoo, that your dad died in April. Yeah, unfortunately. My dad died from lung cancer. Don't know if it was because of smoking or whatever. He went keto as well, and he was doing tremendous for a long period of time. So he started out, he did like 1 round of chemo and he didn't feel good and he decided not to do it. And he actually let me help him. But I don't think he was keto enough. He was like, yeah, I'll add some fat. So he was the metastases, because he was stage 4 when they diagnosed him and they gave him like 6 months. And I think he lived for a couple of years after that. And he got rid of most of them, which is amazing in itself. But the mother tumor was still there. And eventually he got really, what's the word? Impatient with it. Like, there's nothing happening and I'm sick of eating this way. So I'm just going to take a radiation therapy. So he did that, but that resulted in a frozen shoulder because radiation isn't that specific. So it fucked up his shoulder. And all of a sudden, he just had like one arm he could use. He was driving like a maniac, and he had to switch with my sister who had an automatic car. But either way, it was like on the wrong side. So he was like, just, it was like, when I was sat in the car, I was like terrified. He didn't drive very fast, but he just refused to stop. But I think that whole thing just spiraled into that he was giving up on wanting to live. It was like, okay, that didn't help. Now my shoulder's gone. It was nothing he could do about it. He tried to do physiotherapy, but it didn't get any better. It was like he had completely destroyed his shoulder. And he just kind of gave up on life after that, unfortunately. So um, it's not, it's awful, but we can't force anyone to do what we want them to do. Like, we can't force them to go on that diet because we know that is better for them. They have to choose that for themselves. And at this point, there was like nothing I could do because he think that he was keto, and he's like, well, I'll try that. So after he gave up, he was just starting to eat cake and God knows everything. And it was just like, well, my shoulder's fucked up, cancer's still there. Even though he had got rid of most of the metastases, which is like amazing. People don't do that in stage 4. But he didn't have the patience. So yeah, unfortunately, people have to decide for themselves what they want to do. We don't want them to do it, but it's their choice. Okay. I know why I'm drink. I am chasing the dragon, same as smoking. I want to chase that high from the first hit. I want to quit, but I have no hobbies that deter me from my desk. From your desk? Yeah. Okay. So you want to chase the dragon, which is fine. I get that. It feels good in the moment, but why do you need to feel good in the moment? That's what I'm asking. Like, what is it that you're trying to avoid? So if you didn't drink, what would be happening then? Because that is probably what you want to avoid by getting the high. So have a look at that. I think baby steps is helpful for many. Me, I was dumb and literally overnight started carnivore and whoa, cravings were insane. I backslid to ketovore. Yeah. But that's not bad. I mean, backsliding into ketovore isn't bad. It's fine. You know, that's probably why a cyclical ketogenic diet has worked best for me because my blood sugar is just dropping so bloody much. And maybe that is correlated to my extremely low body temperature, me always being cold without actually having anything wrong with my thyroid. And I've been like that for all my life. And I have suffered with headaches pretty much all my life. So maybe I'm finally onto something. It's just that when I measured my blood sugar 2 years ago, it was perfect. It was like 4.6, around that range, which is around 80 for you American people. So I wouldn't have noticed that. But then I wasn't like the zero carb. So maybe I can't do carnivore, or maybe I can learn to do it over time, but I need to maybe use my yogurt, what's it called? Medicine, meanwhile, to just get my body to readjust to a different base level of blood sugar. Because 4 or 72 wouldn't, I mean, it's just like 70 is hypoglycemia, like officially. So it is very low, but for some people that would be fine. It's just that my head is not agreeing with that. So for me, that isn't fine. So how can I get that baseline up a little bit? Just to like 4.4, 4.5, that would probably be fine because that's what I had about 2 years ago. And I didn't even think about it. I didn't have any specific headaches at the time. Mm, you dropped 91 pounds. That's a lot of weight. I'm not gonna block your lines. Don't worry. Right. No, you're not an annoyance. I'm glad you're here. Someone has to ask you questions, right? Oh yeah, I lived in London and everyone smoked. I thought it was that way here in US, but there was next level. Okay, excellent. Actually, think about it. I'm assuming now that you are from Austria, Austrian carnivore. I love skiing. So when I lived in Sweden, I used to go skiing in the Alps. Most of the time, I would go to France. I've been to Switzerland. It's also amazing. And then I went to Austria because that was supposed to be good. And I can't even remember the skiing. I was just so fucking annoyed at everyone smoking everywhere. You allow people to, well, you did then. You allowed people to smoke in cafes, indoors, everywhere. And I fucking hated it. I was so angry and I vowed to never go back to Austria ever again because you're shit country. You have beautiful nature, everything, and everyone's just fucking smoking everywhere. I really didn't enjoy that holiday because everyone was smoking everywhere. Um, yeah, it's really one of my it's worse than like a pet peeve. It just ticks me off completely because I find it so inconsiderate how people can sit and smoke next to other people. Um, my boyfriend is a junk food junkie, often out of laziness. He will eat what I make, but having a controlling mother, I'm aware to not try to control anybody. Well, you can just cook then. Hey, I made this. So it's kind of an easy fix if he's happy to eat it. Um, things are sort of the same here actually. If I'm cooking, Bart will eat it. If I'm not, now we live kind of far away, so he wouldn't necessarily drive and get some pizza or something. But when we live closer, he would just walk down and buy whatever if I wasn't cooking. Now I'm pretty much cooking every day, so it's not, wasn't really a problem, but he wouldn't cook. He would just go and buy something shitty, like pies or pizza that you can put in the oven and then eat it. So thankfully, we're living further away now, so he's not doing that. Um, yes, thanks for reminding people. Hit the thumbs up. I keep forgetting. Let's see. So she's open, was in therapy for 2 decades and stopped. I have tried to explain because she knows suffered with depression too. So I have that background too. Yeah, I'm working on it. Totally right. That's awesome. Um, I mean, it's probably not the best place for her, but if she wanted to join the Facebook group, if she just wanted to join it and kind of hang out and meet other people who are doing it, even if she's not into carnivore or keto, that's fine. And just tell her when she's answering the questions, like, I want to see what it's like. That is a good enough answer for me. I have a friend in there. She's definitely not low carb in any way because that didn't suit her body and she wants to join the group. I don't have anything against it. Um, but if she kind of wants that just to observe, if that's going to help her, like invite her. I'm more than happy for her to join. Anyone who's open and kind of curious about it, and if she doesn't like it, she can leave again. It's not going to hurt her. Yeah, when you've been depressed for a long time, the idea of feeling normal can seem intimidating. It can feel like a lot will be expected of you. She may not even remember what. Yeah. I mean, I have never had clinical depression, but I'm just like other people. I have a brain and the brain malfunctions, and sometimes I'm in this state where I can't see the positive. Like whatever I'm thinking, it's like I know that I should enjoy thinking about doing this thing because when I'm doing it, I know that I really enjoy doing it. But I can't feel joy thinking about it. I just feel like miserable. So I can imagine what it would be like to be stuck there. And I don't like the idea of that. So that's why, like, just putting her in such an environment where other people are like, I feel so good on this diet or whatever. Or even if you wanted to put her in some sort of keto group. I mean, I can't recommend a specific one. The only thing I'm gonna say is that my group is gonna be non-judgmental. If anyone is in there judging people and telling them what to do, they're going out. Because that's not the kind of environment that I want to create. I haven't even had that in my other Facebook group with like 1,700 people, and now only 80 people have joined the new group, and I'm fine with that. I just want the active people, the people that want the same thing as me, that want to kind of keep growing and be part of a community. Those are the people that I want in there. So, yeah, again, if she's interested, fine, invite her. Yeah, change is always frightening because we don't know what's actually going to happen. Like, if I do this, what's going to happen then? And that's not me. Other people know that that's not me. I'm going to be fake. That's called imposter syndrome. I was battling with this. You know what? When was this? This was probably when I was doing sometime during the 90-day carnivore experiment. I cannot remember what I did, but I know that there was Greek yogurt involved in it. I think I had got the different Greek yogurt because they had substituted it with another one. And I thought, I'm just going to put a little bit of vanilla powder in it. And it was horrible. And I just needed to put like a little bit of sugar in there. And like now I've blown it. But I know from my definition, I do already have a definition. If I have a little bit of barbecue sauce or something like that, I don't care because I'm never going to be craving barbecue sauce. It doesn't create other cravings for me. It's not a problem. What's a problem is like cakes and ice cream and those kind of things. First of all, they will create cravings because they will mess with my blood sugar for sure, because I'm always hungry the day after. And they mess with my head because that is the thing that I crave. That is the thing that I am addicted to. So it's kind of open up that gateway again where I just want to keep doing it because that is what feels good. Having some barbecue sauce never makes me feel like, "Oh, I want more barbecue sauce." Like, it's not a problem. And having some Greek yogurt that just isn't super tart and just, like, makes my face look like I just ate a lemon, that's never gonna create cravings for me. And I had so much mind drama over that. I'm like, "Oh, I'm an imposter. I was lying. I have not been sugar-free." And then I was like, "Well, technically, I allow myself to have barbecue sauce, and that's probably more sugar than having a teaspoon or whatever I had in that yogurt. It wasn't a lot. So what's the big problem here?" It was just like my brain was kind of over fixating on that one thing. So I say I've been sugar free for however many days, like since New Year. But technically, there has been some sugar in some form here and there, but it doesn't matter to me because that is not a problem. So that's just my definition. And whatever definition you have of the diet that you want to be on, or whether you want to drink, how much you want to drink, or whatever, it's up to you to decide. But we were talking about the change is fighting, but that was my brain just getting like, you haven't changed. It was telling me you haven't changed. You're just like pretending. And a way of like, go and admit your sins so you don't have to uh, pretend that you're someone who you're not. And it just wanted to kind of draw me back into being that person. I'm like, no, I'm not going to do that. But it did take some work. And I felt awful about this for weeks, which is ridiculous. But that's what brains do. Oh, apple cider vinegar to the yogurt? That sounds horrible. mm, right, LDL 176, CRP 6.9. Should I be concerned? CRP is kind of high, isn't it? I'm not sure how high that is, but that seems a bit high. Um, I'm trying to not deal with this sort of stuff, and I would actually have to look into these numbers, so I can't actually answer you on the spot. But shall we say it's a consultancy question? Um, so yeah, Bart is a lot better on at that. He's dealing with that all the time. I'm not that interested in it, to be honest. I just, if it's an inflammatory market like CRP, yes, then I would be worried. But you still don't have to accept the statins no matter what. Like, he might think that LDL is too high, but keep in mind that LDL 10 years ago, the the ideal LDL level that they wanted people to have, what was considered normal, was much higher than it is today. And it's just because they want to keep pushing those statins on people. And 20 years ago, it was probably a lot higher than that. It's just like they keep pushing the limit further and further down so that more people will be eligible to take statins. And that says absolutely nothing about your health. Just because they keep changing the guidelines, 176 might be perfectly normal for you. High CRP, though, is more of a concern to me. Yeah, so in the docs gave him astronaut food that seemed to be useful. I looked at the ingredients, 90% dairy, 10% sugar. I can't believe they allow that for cancer patients. It sounds, yeah, it doesn't make any sense. So if we get cancer, you know what to do or what not to do. I was dreaming about things I didn't even eat before, like Snickers, candy bars, etc. I hope you fix your headaches. I had a headache for 3 days straight. Yes, every day. Yeah, it's awful. I was eating all the sugar, so if I had any dreams about it, it would have been normal. But sometimes I do get like weird cravings, like I'm trying to remember something. I haven't had any of those for a while. But sometimes it might be like, oh, I would like some chips. And I don't really like chips. And then I think, maybe it's just the salt that I want. So maybe making some pork cracklings or something would be a good substitute. Something that I'm making myself that hasn't been cooked in oil or something. Mm. Skiing is our tourist attraction. Our headmasters are retarded and greedy. I understand. I also hate all people that hold power. Yeah. I think that's something we all sort of have in common because we don't want to do it the way that I want to do it. So, of course, we're going to think that they are idiots and that they shouldn't be telling us what to do. And thankfully, I noticed all of this fairly young, probably because I always been a naysayer. I always wanted to go my own way and question things. I very rarely just accept things when people tell me this is how it is, and I ask why, and they're like, "Well, that's just how it is." And I'm like, "Well, if you can't explain why, then there's something fishy going on. Like, what? Tell me. Why don't you want to tell me?" That's always been my mindset, which is, I mean, I'm grateful for that. But and now it's so much worse than I thought it would be. Like I thought it was just like the um the dietary industry, like the food, the big food farm. I want to say the big food companies that wanted to make more money and having a finger in the recommendations, etc. But I think it just goes so much further than that now, and it's a little bit sad. It's a bit scary. What is actually most scary is not that they are doing this. What is most scary is that people are so naive and trusting and believe what they're telling them. That is what is scary. So, from my perspective, I like to just educate people and kind of broaden their minds and get them to open up a bit and to ask questions. And then, whatever you choose to do is your choice. But when you just trust someone, it's not really your choice. You have just been deceived and you didn't even know it. And that's sad. Awesome. Yeah, that would be good. Um, by the way, I know why I crave being drunk. Back then, we did some drinking, then went out and hooked up with girls. So I believe I crave intimacy, and since the lockdown, that was cut off. I believe. Yeah, okay. So that's a really, really good starting point, and it's not uncommon. That as human beings, we are looking for connection, and in your case, it might be not just connection, but also the intimacy with someone. So, what could you do instead of drinking to get that? I mean, there are lots of things that you can do. You can just write the list. Write down 25 things. What could I do to get the intimacy in my life that I crave? That is not drinking, because there could be many, many things. So now you have somewhere to start. Um, question Grandma has never nerve ache in her right cheek, ischias nerve. Could that be based on inflammation, carb addiction? She already tried acupuncture, pills, and anti-stress therapy. I have heard about people that do get an inflamed ischias nerve. Yes. Um, I mean, indirectly, the carb addiction could be behind that if she can't quit the carbs, and that's what she needs to do. So, can we get grandma on a less inflammatory diet, maybe? That might help. And it might not just be that the nerve is inflamed, it might be that her whole body is inflamed and there is a lot of tension. Maybe there is pressure buildup from fluid retention. And all of those things could be alleviated by just cutting down on the carbs a bit. So that might be worth trying. Shell, dusters, but welcome. Little correction, I had a headache for 3 years, not 3 days. I can give information on you that might help, as mine was not diet at all. 12 doctors, nobody figured out my jaw was the cause. Okay. Yeah. I have never had constant headaches for 3 years. I started getting headaches as far as I can remember when I was a very young teenager, like probably before, or maybe, I don't know. Trying to think. Maybe it was actually my period started after my period started. So maybe. I don't know if there's something there. None of my friends used to have headaches, and I used to have them quite often. The thing that helped me at the time, not that time, but many years later, was when I went keto, when I went low carb, that headaches pretty much went away. Unfortunately, that doesn't quite work right now. It's like the opposite. I think it's like too much or too little seems to be a problem for me. So yeah, I have heard about other people doing jaw corrections, etc., which would be interesting to try at some point, maybe. Absolutely. But I imagine that that's going to be expensive as well. Well, hello, composition consultant. I haven't replied to you. I will. Thanks for all your knowledge. Very much appreciated. I try to incorporate as much as possible into my life. Good. Ah, okay. So, mouth guard for top and bottom had to see a special dentist. Yeah, okay. But that's good. I have heard about people doing that as well. I didn't necessarily think about that, but yeah, that could be interesting. If you want to send me some information about like the whole process that you went through to get that diagnosed, I would appreciate that. I'll just post my email here if you can be bothered. Um, there you go. So that's it. Um, I mean, I will try anything. I'm not sure that that is the problem because I have gone longer periods of time without headaches, especially when I've been keto, and it hasn't come back. The only time it seems to be triggered is around my period. So I think the hormones can play a role here. Trying to think what else. If I'm thinking back, like what I've been doing, so I used to have something I call like bread headaches. It's like I knew exactly how much bread or pizza or whatever I could eat in a day and not have headache the next day. And I also knew if I ate too much of it, I would have a headache next day. It was like I knew exactly. So if I had like one or two slices of pizza, I would be fine. If I would eat three or four, I would almost guaranteed have a headache the next morning, which I wouldn't do because that was my way of like, okay, I know what I can handle, I know what I can't handle, and I'm not going to go there because then I will definitely get a headache. So yeah, and I think we spoke about this a couple of weeks ago, but people with migraine brains, they literally have insulin resistance in the brain as a default, and that is clearly a problem. So too much carbs for someone with migraines is just gonna make it so much worse. But also on the other hand, low blood sugar, which is what I'm dealing with clearly, is can also trigger migraines. I had 2.5 days of high blood sugar when I just started measuring now. No headaches coming on, but it didn't seem to want to go down. And I have no idea what that was. But I started measuring exactly on the same day as my period started. So again, that is something I have to test next month to see if that is happening again. Because now I can't get it up from 72. It's like it just bounces back down to 72 and I have a headache. And that is fairly annoying. I really want to get rid of that shit, but that's where I am right now. Thank you. I appreciate it. See you, Patricia. I'm sure you're gone already, but anyhow, if you watch this later. Bye. Oh, yes. I haven't had to worry for periods for about 10 years. It's awesome. As long as awesome doesn't mean that it's gonna fuck me up completely with the headaches, I am jealous. Thank you for the super sticker. I don't know what was on that super sticker because I can't see it in StreamYard, but thank you so much. I appreciate it. Oh, yes, indeed. Hormonal, sadly, might be both. Yeah. Well, gluten connection too. I don't think it was necessarily gluten. It was because eating lots of just sugar would all give me the same thing. But it was like with the pizza and the bread, I knew exactly what amount and I could stop. If I was going for chocolate or something, I couldn't necessarily stop. I would just like go on a binge. And then I knew that I was gonna have a headache. It wasn't like I could experiment. I wasn't in a position where I was had the tools and the skills to experiment with how much sugar I could get away with, but I could with bread and pizza because it's not. I mean, fresh bread right out of the oven. It's pretty amazing with a lot of butter. But I've never really liked pizza, and I think the reason for that is that my mom, single mom, didn't like to cook, always gave me money, like at least once a week to go and buy pizza. And oh fuck's sake, pizza again. And everyone was so jealous of me, and I just like, I don't like pizza. So that's still with me. I don't like pizza much. Right, we're gonna wrap this up very soon. I think Bart has a premiere. Last week, I was 30 minutes late, and he was like, let's see. Never knew that about migraines. I can also talk to you about pressure changes with headaches too. Tell you in an email. Yeah, so that's interesting. When I read, uh, God, see my brain. I still have brain fog. What's her name? Angela Stanton's book, The Migraine Cure. She's talking about the pressure changes as well and how to add electrolytes. And I think when the pressure is getting when you're going up, like the pressure is getting less, you should supplement with uh, sodium, and when it's going down, you need to supplement with potassium to prevent things from happening from starting to get migraines, etc., which is really interesting. I've never tried that myself. I have to reread it to actually know what she said, but it's very very interesting. Uh, yes, bad timing. Yeah, I know. Especially bad because someone was asking something on Bart's live stream, and then I said, I seem to be having high blood sugar, and that's not good. And now it's just like crash, and I can't move it. So I don't think that is my default. And going back to how it was a couple of years ago, that's definitely not my default. That's why I was so surprised and kind of a bit confused about what was going on. So yeah, I'm gonna have to monitor this for a bit more than a month to see what's actually happening. A deck, dusters. We are just finishing up here. By the way, I didn't send you an email, but I haven't heard from anyone yet. If you know what I mean. Shelley, Pim, I was a migraine sufferer after menopause. Changed diet helps with the side effects 100%. It's glorious. Yeah. I just hope that that's going to help me. So if they can just go away and never come back, that would be great. Portuguese sweetbreads. Interesting. I didn't like the like they're a bit. It feels like eating brain, eating sweetbreads, like how I imagine eating brain is. I've never had brain, but if you like it, it's probably awesome. I loved homemade bread. My mother made bread every day, but unfortunately gives me such pains. Yeah. Alex, perhaps one chases the dragon to avoid the unending banality of existence. Life is a vortex of mundanity, and the tall cognac takes the edge off. Yeah. So that's the problem. Like when you keep doing that, you don't enjoy life. What we were talking about last week, like the serotonin is like non-existent. You are taking that away until you can get away from all the dopamine when it can come back and you can start feeling good about normal things again. And also enjoy the small dopamine hits, the normal amount of dopamine that you're supposed to have from just living life and doing fun things and eating normal food. So we're kind of putting ourselves in a very peculiar position where we kind of need to keep doing it or face that horrible river of piss. And we have to go through that before we can go and actually feel good. And Alex is writing his book. I'm just saying, now you have 20 buyers when it comes out. Okay, thanks for your Q&A. Haha, no, not brain, bread. Oh, I thought you said sweet. Oh, okay. I thought you meant sweetbreads, but a sweet bread. Okay, I get it. Okay, many know it as a Hawaiian sweetbread. I have to look that up because I have no clue what that is. You have to go without a period of 12 months in a row, naturally. I've heard the girls at work literally start again after 11 months and 2 weeks. Lol. I had surgery at 39, it sent me into menopause. Oh, Jesus. Okay. Well, I think mine's too regular to be anywhere near menopausing. But to be honest, it will be nice when it happens. Except for the fact that I probably have other hormonal issues, maybe. That's the only thing. But having said that, mine are fine, because I'm sure all of you want to know about it. I've never been one to suffer a lot from it, and this month, like a week ago or whatever, didn't even need painkillers. So from that perspective, this diet works really well because normally I would need at least painkillers during the first 24 hours. So I would probably take like ibuprofen twice, and then I'm done with it. That's kind of my baseline. So not needing them at all is pretty good. Okay, so we are finished. We're 6 minutes late, but we will survive. Thank you so much for popping in today. It was great to see you, and I shall be back next freaking week. Um, good. I'm sure you are one of the few. Most people are complaining about the PMS. My mum had hot flashes for years. I don't even know if she stopped. So thank you so much. Love you all. Join the Facebook group if you're interested in trying to build a active, supporting community where we're not fucking judging each other and we're just doing whatever is best for us. And that goes even if you're not 100% carnivore or ketovore or whatever. I don't care. As long as you are a good person, you're welcome to join. ABK, I haven't seen you, but thank you. I shall speak to you all later. Bye.